Hey guys, so today's video is more on the commentary side rather than drama side, but it's also a little bit drama. So if you guys are looking for some of that, let's just get into it. Subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment for engagement, help the algorithm do its thing because the algorithm is working against me right now. I don't know what's happening. Algorithm is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we're going to talk about an UK influencer. This is basically how I started out on my channel. I used to talk about the UK influencers more than the US, and then I ended up having more of a US audience when like James Charles and Tati happened, so I ended up just going down the US route. And now I'm back to my roots. Elle Darby. Because I don't know who Elle Darby is, I'll give you a little background story and then we'll tell you what happened. I don't know why I'm so happy because this story is really bad. Mainly for me. Let me explain. Okay, first of all, I am not British. I am a Polish immigrant. I came here when I was 8 years old. No English, just vibes. No English, just vibes. And then I learned English and now here we are talking in English, yeah? Good time. But anyway, I'm an immigrant. My parents have strong accents when they talk. Don't tell them I told you that. They talk though. They're fine. Vocab is all good. Just a bit of an accent. It's fine. We love to hear it. It's funny. It's, you know, it's a good vibe. It's cute. And so just a little backstory. I am doing the immigrant thing. And obviously Brexit. We know the UK has discriminatory tendencies against immigrants or anyone that's not British and white. We know this, guys. Okay, not everyone, by the way, not everyone, but a lot of people do. Enough to vote for Brexit. To get the immigrants out. I don't know, guys. Anyway, so this is a Polish YouTuber react to Elle Darby being hateful towards immigrants, mainly Polish people. We love to see it. So I have a lot of tweets. There was also a lot of discrimination against other minorities and just other groups of people, so I'll mention that as well. But because I'm Polish, I feel like I can just focus on like the Polish thing the most, and then I'll just kind of give you a rundown of everything else that happened. If I'm laughing and making jokes throughout all of this, it's not because I'm not taking the story seriously or I don't think discrimination is bad. Obviously I'm an immigrant, so any discrimination is kind of bad, but I just still don't like to take these kind of people's words and opinions so seriously that it like affects my everyday life. I just feel like I would lose hair from stress if I took every discriminatory statement on board and like took it seriously. Do you know what I mean? Like if she wants to be ignorant, she can be ignorant, but there are consequences to your ignorance is basically what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, free speech and all that good stuff. Go be ignorant. But when you start to lose your career, don't cry about it, yeah? Because you chose to be ignorant, willfully. Anyway, so she's 26 years old. She's a lifestyle, mummy, fitness vlogger. So she started out doing kind of fitness because she lost a lot of weight and she kind of like documented her, I guess, journey to weight loss. And then she just did kind of lifestyle once she already like lost the weight. At that point, she wasn't doing like weight loss tips. She was doing more just like lifestyle stuff. And then she kind of moved more into fashion. And then she ended up giving birth to a son recently, so she kind of became a mummy vlogger as well a little bit. So it's kind of just like everything into one. She vlogs basically, and then she posts on Instagram. So on YouTube she has over 600,000 subscribers. It's dropping. And then on Instagram she's got 770,000, also dropping. I'm gonna give you all the stats in a minute. So the tweets are from 2011-ish. That would make her 2011, around that time. So the tweets are from when she was about 16, 17, 18 years old. But there's also a clip on her channel that she had deleted where apparently she was in her uni dorm, which would make her 18, 19/20, because that's when you go to uni in the UK. At that point, you're an adult. And even 16, 17, 18 is old enough to know not to be ignorant, just in my opinion. If she was like 10, I'd be like, okay, still wrong, like maybe your parents should teach you a thing or two, but it would be more understandable than being 16, 17, 18 and then 18, 19, 20, making those same statements on an everyday basis, basically. And it's not even one or two tweets. There were like tens of tweets. Like it's almost like she would wake up every day and be like, who can I piss off today? How can I show my ignorance today? She actually deleted her Twitter, and that to me shows just how many tweets there were, because if you can't go through it and delete your ignorance, you have to delete the whole Twitter account. Girly, we got a problem, yeah? She's from Wiltshire, which is outside of London. To me, anything outside of London is just outside of London. I'm from London. I'm a city girl. I feel like London, as much as it's also discriminatory, I'm not saying that there are like no racist people in London, like nothing happens in London. I feel like it's a lot more multicultural and people are more accepting of other people's cultures because it's so mixed in London. And then when you step outside of London, it tends to be mainly British. So if you're an immigrant or you're a different race, outside of London tends to be a little bit more difficult than in London. Not excusing her ignorance, but she was definitely I'm 100% sure she was raised in a very white British environment where she thought this was okay. It's not. Girlie, it's not, yeah? Her husband was also called out in the meantime. His name's Connor Swift, and he is a personal trainer, and he basically just ends up, now he basically just lives off being her husband in a way. Like, they just kind of have this like business going together, but he used to be a personal trainer. And his tweets, it's a lot less complicated to explain than her tweets. Her tweets are just like a bunch of different minorities being hit all at the same time. His is his excessive use of the N-word, which he thought was hilarious, and it's not, as you guys know, not hilarious at all. And he thought it was so funny. He thought it was hilarious. He thought it was like comedy genius is what he thought he was. Anyway, so which minorities did Elle Darby offend? So people from Poland, people from India, Chinese people, Jewish people, overweight people, even though she used to be overweight and then lost weight, so she should know how difficult it is to be overweight and have people mock you for it. But because she lost the weight, somehow she thinks she's on like a moral high ground. Girlie, you were in the same position. You were in the same position like 2 seconds ago. Why would you do this? Why would you not instead? It's like you have this whole fitness. She did fitness tips and tricks and tried to help people lose weight while also mocking them, even though she used to be overweight. I don't really get it. Anyway, she also did make tweets about black people, but she didn't use the N-word. Not that that makes her any better than her husband. Like, she's already hit all these minorities. The fact that she didn't use the N-word, which I'm sure she did. I'm sure she used the N-word. She just didn't do it in tweets. Or maybe we just didn't find the tweets. But yeah, her husband, N-word, her, just ignorance across the board. She was also managed by Gleam, which is the same management that Zoe Sugg and that whole lot were under. And to me, it's just giving privileged white British YouTuber. Like, if you're under Gleam, it's giving white British ignorant privileged YouTuber, in my personal opinion. Okay. Also, I just think it's ironic. We're gonna use the word ironic here, that in one of the tweets she called immigrants meatheads, so aka dumb. She's calling them dumb, but she couldn't figure out how to delete old tweets when she blew up on the internet. So you became famous and you couldn't figure out how to use the delete button to save yourself all of this, but you're calling immigrants meatheads. Okay, there's also the fitness journey video that I spoke about. I'll put the clip that I'm talking about right here.
My weight section when I first joined the gym was just full of like smelly men who were so pumped, you know, they had these huge muscles, most of them were bold, most of them were foreign.
Just her like constant use of the word foreign and foreigners, it's giving, you're not one of us, you know, it's giving Mean Girl vibes. And also, like, why do you care if there's foreigners in your gym? They paid for the membership just like you did. They paid the same amount. You both have the right to be there, yeah? Anyway, she also made some tweets about Black History Month where she was like, oh, does it always have to be Black History Month? No, Black History Month is just when it's Black History Month. That's the only month. It's not always Black History Month. It's just a specific month. And then that contrasted with her fake woke Black Lives Matter activism. It's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. Then let's just go over some of her tweets, because I think the ones about Polish people I can laugh at. I'm not going to laugh at the other ones. I'm going to laugh at the ones about Polish people because I just think it's like I'm here, you know, doing the Polish thing as if it's like a thing that you actively do. So Elle Darby, only F slur get put in Hufflepuff because making jokes about gay people. Apparently funny. I don't know. This Indian girl's going to piss me off. Hashtag straight up. Jumping Jews, I miss you too, gal. Never compliment an overly cocky boy. It's like feeding 4 Big Mac meals to a fat person. Fuck the police / Polish. It's a very interesting combo of people. The police and Polish exclusively. No one else, just fuck the police and the Polish people. These are the 2 groups we're going for today. So I hope the Polish twat driving my bus this morning, who nearly kicked me off because I didn't have a pass, crashes when he drops me at school. So now wishing death upon immigrants because you forgot your bus pass and he was doing his job. You've got me fucked up. If you guys don't know, in the UK, you have like these bus passes. They're called Oyster cards. I don't know if that's the same outside of London, but I'm assuming you have some kind of a bus pass as well. Basically, you have to get on with the bus pass and you have to tap it. Otherwise, you're not let on the bus because that's how public transport works. And she obviously almost got kicked off because she didn't have one, and then she wished death upon him. Poor Polish man didn't even know that he was having death wished upon him. Hate it when skinny girls say they're fat, clearly just saying it to draw even more attention to their stick, legs, and arms. Twats. So not only does she hate overweight people, she also hates skinny people. Have you ever had of body dysmorphia or an eating disorder where people think that they are overweight when they're not, or they think their body looks different than it does? Yeah, ignorant tweet. Moving on. Squinting like a Chinese man because this cursing bus hasn't got any curtains to hide the sun and all that fuckery. Scabby skull. I don't even have to explain these tweets. I'm just going to read them out to you guys because anyone that watches my channel knows why these are wrong. So I'm never going to be like, oh my god, it's wrong because obviously you're making fun of China. We know this. We know. This bus is sweaty and stinks of Indians. I just hate Polish people and Indians, really. What did we ever do to you? Do you know what I mean? Stealing all those jobs that you weren't qualified for in the first place. Every time you tweet something, even though it's usually utter crap, I imagine you saying it in your gay boy Irish accent. At Planet Jedward. Oh, Connor also tweeted this wonderful, intelligent, intellectual tweet. Looked like a black man after work through all the dust I collected. Still looked hot. I really miss my laptop. Wish that effing charger from Hong Kong would hurry up. Come on, slur for Chinese people. You're upsetting me. Very interesting. Oh, and I couldn't find the exact tweet about the meatheads, but I saw an article on Daily Mail where they quoted one of her tweets, and it was, why do foreign people follow me? I don't speak your grunt, meatheads. So if you're foreign in any way, capacity, if you're an immigrant like me, or you're anyone that she offended, just unfollow her. She doesn't want you following her anyway, so you might as well just not give her the money and the ego boost. Just unfollow her. She told you to. She told you to unfollow her because she doesn't want you meatheads following her. I'm glad I never followed her. Because I would hate to think that I was giving money to someone like this. Okay, so then we have, anyone else think CeeLo looks like a Malteser, which is obviously one of these tweets. I was in the 212 on the Uptown 8 N-word, you know what's up or don't you, which is lyrics from a song by Azalea Banks, which, you know, just because you're quoting a song doesn't mean you have to say the N-word, do you know what I mean? We then have her apology post, and that was on her Instagram stories, and she said, Christmas and New Year's are traditionally a time for reflection, and as such, we decided to take some time to look through both of our histories on social. You didn't. People went through your history on socials and they called you out for it, and then you posted an Instagram story saying you looked through your socials to make it look like you discovered these tweets that you're very sorry for, which is not the case at all. People brought them to your attention and you panicked, okay? Let's not try to switch the narrative now. We are ashamed to admit that we did not like what we found. Oh, really? You didn't like what you found? As if you didn't type it yourself. Take some responsibility for your actions, okay? Though both of us were shocked, surprised, and devastated by some of the language used in our very old tweets. I love the emphasis on very old, as if you weren't in your late teens / early adult years. In particular, over a decade ago. I love the emphasis on very long ago, over a decade ago. Does that? So if I was 50 years old and I was like, oh, these tweets are over a decade ago. Yeah, I was still 40. The time frame here doesn't really matter. Yeah. We feel that we all have a responsibility to own our mistakes and to try and take responsibility for our actions, especially the ones that don't paint us in the best light. These comments are not a reflection of who either of us are as grown adults, nor who we were at the time they were made, and do not align with what we stand for. But they are. They might not be. Okay, hear me out. Even if I gave you the benefit of the doubt and that you've changed tremendously as a human being, that you like understand that what you did was wrong, yeah, those tweets might not be a reflection of who you are now, but they definitely are a reflection of who you were as a teenager, because you made those tweets as a teenager, so they were a reflection of who you were back then. Like, you can't say, oh, I tweeted those things, but they were not a reflection of my thoughts. That's exactly what they were. They were a reflection of your thoughts. And we might have not seen any discrimination since then, but it doesn't mean that you didn't behave that way behind the scenes. So we don't know if it's a reflection of you as an adult, because we don't know what you're like at home. And you're smart enough to not make those tweets now that you're famous, but you were not smart enough to delete those tweets when you became famous, which is why we are where we are right now. But immigrants, meatheads, we get it. We get it. We are beyond angry at ourselves and ashamed that our behavior will have been hurtful to some of you who have supported our family for so long. We can only wish for your forgiveness. Have a great New Year's Eve and stay safe. Love always, Connor and Elle. X. Anyway, that was awful. That was an awful apology, but you know what's even worse? Her apology video that she made. It's 3 minutes long, and she basically says the same thing that she said in this, which is like, no one hates me more than I do right now. I hate myself for making those tweets. I hate you too for making those tweets, yeah? I hate you too. How do you know that no one hates you quite as much as you do? How do you know? Anyway, she's basically just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's awful tweets. Oh, it's just such a bullshit. If you're gonna do that, don't do anything at all, please. I beg you, don't do anything at all. Now let's look at her social blade, my favorite part of this video. So her YouTube channel, she has lost over 30,000 subscribers in the last 30 days. Even though this didn't happen 30 days ago, this happened. So she started losing subs on the 1st of January. So in 8 days, she has lost 30,000 subscribers. It was 2,000 first day, then 3, then 5, then 13, then 5,000, 2,000, 2,000, and 1,000 today, but today's not done yet. She also deleted 18 million views. So not only did you have tweets up that were ignorant, you also had videos up, such as that fitness one that I told you guys about. You're telling me you couldn't quite figure out how to delete all of this before you blew up? Okay, girly. Okay. She's getting a lot of views right now, only because people are obviously looking through and seeing if they can find anything. And also her apology video got a lot of views. But yeah, so she's still losing, which I heavily appreciate. I think it's good consequence for your actions. Like I said, free speech, you know, you're allowed to think ignorant things and you're allowed to say ignorant things, but it doesn't mean that you're somehow exempt from consequences from saying and thinking those ignorant things. Because a lot of the times I think people are like, oh my god, cancel culture is so toxic, it's so bad. No, I think she was allowed to make those tweets. Like, no one stopped her. No one was like, oh my god, that's illegal, you're not allowed to do that. You were allowed to tweet those things, but now you're suffering the consequences of your actions, and that's fine. I agree with that. I think that's perfectly fine. If you want to think ignorant things, you're going to suffer the consequences, girly. And you are suffering the consequences. And that's fine by me. As a fellow Polish immigrant, no, you're not fellow. As a Polish immigrant, I think this is great. This is a great outcome. Then her Instagram. So she has lost... Instagram doesn't show you properly. That's... Okay. So she lost 3.5k on the first day, 5.7 second day, 7,000 third day, then 21.5k, 25k, 14k, 8k, and then 7.5k, and she's still losing. Also, which I think is very interesting, she unfollowed 50 people on the day that she started getting cancelled, which I think is interesting. Like, who did you unfollow? And then posts, she deleted 43 posts the next day, which, like, were you also ignorant on Instagram? How can you be ignorant in aesthetic photos? I just want to know what's going on. How can you be that ignorant everywhere? Just across the board, you were just doing ignorance. Then we have her Twitter, which she did deactivate. And when you deactivate your Twitter, people can't unfollow you. But then the moment you reactivate, people can start unfollowing you. And she was on about 70,000 followers, allegedly, before all of this went down. And then she deactivated. But all I'm seeing is 50-something K. So I think that's wrong. Okay, so right as she started losing followers, correction, she was on 55k, not 70k. I read 70k followers on Twitter somewhere. I think it was one of those like Daily Mail articles. But she looked, it looks like she was on about 55, 56k right before she was cancelled. So I think that's wrong. And when she started losing followers, she deactivated. So people can't unfollow her anymore. I think this is valid. This is a valid consequence for your actions, and I'm glad, actually. Yeah, don't be an awful person, don't be ignorant, don't be an idiot. And yeah, this is my explanation of what happened. Should I see anything else that I missed? Before we finish today's video, we also have some influencers that follow them. So like the whole Love Island crew still follows them. Molly May follows them. Naomi Jeans follows them. Chloe Burrows, like I said, a bunch of Love Island people. Millie Grace Court, Liberty Paul. That is as of right now. Like by the time I post this video, they could have unfollowed her. I'm pretty sure I saw Lucinda. Lucinda was in this season of Love Island. Her TikTok came up on my For You page and people were congratulating her for unfollowing them. So you know, some people are unfollowing them, some people are not. Also, there are some brands that work with them. So for example, if you want to make a difference to everyone that she offended, here are some brands that work with them or have worked with them in the last 2 months. So you have Free People UK, My First Years, Beauty Works, Zara, Every Last Detail, Thornton's Chocolate, Lights for Fun. What's interesting is Molly May hasn't unfollowed her on Instagram, and she has done brand deals with Beauty Works, and mainly Molly May's products with Beauty Works. I wonder if there's some kind of a contract obligation where Molly May can't speak out against them. interesting. And then Connor's brand, he has his own brand called Swift Store. Oh, and Elle has her own clothing brand called Angel Collection. Angel, it's spelled like this. So those are their two brands. So Elle has Angel Collection and Connor has Swift Store, which are two kind of athleisure brands. And then brands that Connor has worked with that you could reach out to: JD, Vans, Tesco, Maxi Cozy, Vodafone, Uniqlo, Silent Night Beds, Now TV. I didn't go too far back because just because a brand worked for them 5 months ago doesn't mean they work for them now. So I just looked through the last like 2 months. And that is it. And that is kind of where we're at. How are we enjoying this commentary vibe that I'm going for? Yeah, there's just not been a lot of like drama to talk about, and I think this is pretty interesting. I think just as a whole, I think this like related to me because it was about Polish people, so I was like, I might as well do a whole full video about this. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something new today about an influencer that you might not want to support. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.